All right, Ola, we're back. It's been too long, and yet it seems like just yesterday we were on the old Retro Chatter podcast chatting, but a lot has happened between then and now. Thanks for coming back. Glad to have you here. How's everything going? What's new in the life of Ola?
Yeah, thanks for having me. Yeah, it's nice to be back, and I think there's a lot to talk about, especially about CES. And we met up for the first time in person in Vegas, and I
Hmm.
think a lot of has happened there. But yeah, in everyday life, I'll try to keep up with the videos, pushing one out every week. But it's hard, but I'll try my best. How
It
are
is,
you?
it is, it is, and I appreciate every time I see one of Ola's videos go live, as do I'm sure a number of the folks here at Returning Retro. But yeah, this it is a bit of a struggle get regular videos out. I mean, I've noticed that myself. But you talk about CES, man. My expectations were pretty high for the experience, and yet they still somehow were like totally exceeded. I mean, across the board, it was. I was a little bit, and I'm curious. Maybe we could talk about this. Were you at all anxious, or maybe not worried, but apprehensive that you go to CES and there's not really anything you're particularly interested in, or because that was something that I worried about, but or was that not even a concern of yours at all?
Of course it was, but because I've never been to CES and I've never really checked it out in detail as much as we did when we were there. But I was surprised that there is actually so much happening and there was so many interesting things to see. Not necessarily things for my channel, but still very, very interesting things. But yeah, I saw it more like a test to see how CES is and how like a fair of this kind could be for the channel. And I think it worked out nicely. I mean, we saw so many great things. Got invited to
Yes.
press events, press meetings, and I think we met so many interesting people outside of CES just because everyone was there,
Yes.
and that's what I really appreciated and liked about this whole event time.
Yeah, I think that's a good point, and that's I mean I could echo that myself. The experience itself was
Yeah.
totally worth it. Not even to include, I had a couple of I was able to get a couple of pretty good videos out as a result of CES. But even if you just take all of that aside and you just, and by the way, for the viewers and the listeners at home, Ole is just as cool in person as he is in his videos. He is the nicest, the friendliest, the warmest person. So anyway, in case anyone was wondering, whether you're watching this on my channel or his, he is a great guy. But yeah, and maybe for the viewers that wouldn't have known, Oleg joined me and my friend who came down with me to help me film and stuff, and we went to dinner, we went to a show. It was a really good time
I was so
outside of
thankful for that. Yeah, I was so thankful for that because I just went to Vegas without anything. I didn't prepare for anything and I didn't know where to go, what to do. And I was so thankful that you were there and Spencer and that you did prepare something so I could just follow along and yeah, join some
Oh,
things.
that's it all worked out great in that side, but the convention itself, I mean, Ola, you make a great point. There was just so much to see. So I went like every day pretty hard where I was like, go, 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 and getting up first thing, get there when the doors opened, staying as long as, and I don't even know if I could say that I saw half of the different exhibitor booths that were there. Was it, I mean, similar for you?
I think I saw like less than 5% of the fair because we were just walking through and it was just getting to booth like iKKO or seeing the old BlackBerry booth and all of those meetings in the middle of the day like kind of I wasn't really able or I don't know how do you feel about that but to just walk through CES and check everything out because there was just so much happening aside from that.
Oh, totally
That's
agree.
how I
Yeah.
felt. Yeah.
Yep. Yep. if it's like if you and that's something I wish I would have done. I tried to do this okay, I will admit I did try to do a little bit of prep because I had a feeling if I didn't at least try and make a list of booths that I wanted to see, I might get lost or just distracted
Yeah.
by everything else there was to see there. And I, even with going through and like looking at the social media feeds of different brands that I maybe wanted to visit, and then the actual, exhibitor list from the CES website, I still like there were so many that just weren't on there, or I don't know. It was a little bit overwhelming, but in a very positive way.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think next time I'm going there, I think you feel the same way. I'll plan to have just one day of just nothing to do and just walking through CES and
Yes.
checking out everything and having some more time for that. But I'm going to MWC at the
Yeah, I
beginning of
wanted to.
March,
Yeah,
so I'll try to be better there and see more stuff. But I didn't have any time to prepare yet, so I have to do that next week, first thing.
and that's this will be your first MWC as well.
Yeah, yeah.
Ah.
I'm hyped because of CES, so I want to do it all over again in Barcelona.
What were some of the highlights for you in terms of products, gadgets, maybe software? Were there any that you just really either hadn't heard about and it was cool to see, or had heard about and it was cool to get your hands on?
Yeah, I for sure. Sidephone.
Ah, yep.
They didn't really have a real booth there, but we met the founders or the creators of Sidephone, and I've heard about it, but I never really looked into it or tried it. But the first time I had it in hands, I was amazed at how cool it is and how good it works because they were just like, try it, type on it with the like. If you don't know, Sidephone is like a T9 size phone, but it has interchangeable modules like for the viewers here, and they have like this, how do you call it? This keyboard type?
I think they're calling it a compact QWERTY, which is what they're
BlackBerry.
calling it, but BlackBerry veterans, we all know it as Sure Type.
Yeah, sure type. Exactly. And I just tried it and it was amazing and I fell in love with it. And I feel like it was polarizing so much as well in my Instagram reel that I posted about it. It has
Really?
like 1.2 million views on Instagram for the side phone. So I feel like people think it's interesting and want to see it. So I hope I can get my hands on one soon. Because I
Yes, I
think they're
think we
shipping
can.
now. Yeah.
I can say they did a post last week on their because their community, they just do everything on their Reddit page. And I might be getting this wrong, so Chris Sebastian, I apologize, but I believe they have the phones in hand, ready to ship, and the last of the tiles that they are waiting on, I think are supposed to be arriving like tomorrow or maybe the next day. And
Nice.
so
Okay.
I think we should start getting tracking numbers like in the next couple of days,
Cool.
which I am really excited. Which I don't know if you knew this, Ole, but Sidephone, like I found their project. It was one of the first things that I came across when I started, what I call my big intentional tech like in my life where I was actively, okay, I need to do this differently and I need to stop, having these apps on my phone. Sidephone was one of the first projects I came across where I was like, oh, this could really help me. And I didn't know anything about it. And so I found out, oh, this is an upcoming thing. And so I was able to link up with Chris and we had a good long conversation. And this was before I had started my channel, before Returning Retro was even a thing. But yeah, just to echo what you'd said, loved the whole experience with Sidephone. So many different aspects to it, like the size. I just loved the size of it, Ola. I thought it
That's
was
the
so
thing.
nice.
And Chris and Sebastian are just such cool guys. They're so nice. And I feel like they're so passionate about the whole project.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
So
yeah, I just
go
like
ahead.
the size of it. It's so perfect because it does everything you want in a small form factor. And it could be like a side phone to your
Yep.
main phone.
Yep.
And that's what I
Well,
like
and
about it.
and I like too, the fact that it doesn't have the operating system it's going to be running will be basically a custom AOSP, or a custom Android version that doesn't have things like the Google Play Store or Google Mobile Services. And so I know that there has been some maybe critique about those not being present, and I can kind of understand where people are coming from with that. But for someone like me, it's actually a huge advantage that those. So it's like some people are like, there's no Google Play, I can't get this or this or this. I'm more like, yes, there's no Google Play. And so like I have a completely opposite reaction. And so yeah, I don't know. I'm just excited to see how it will be in day-to-day use. So okay, Sidephone, that was one. I mean, maybe one for me. I really, really liked seeing the touch and feel samples of Communicator for clicks.
The
But
Communicator. Yeah, I didn't think about it because it wasn't like a booth at CES. Of
right,
course,
right.
Communicator is a highlight of CES for sure. No
Yeah.
doubt about it. But yeah, go ahead. Sorry. Didn't want to
Well,
interrupt.
and I think that it's one that, well, and I say Communicator one because it was really cool, but right after we talk about Sidephone, because for me, I can view it being Sidephone is actually my primary phone. So like the one that I would have my primary phone number and put on Telegram, stay in touch with, friends and family and everyone. And then Communicator, I just intend on seeing if it would work as my work device. Just my put all of my work apps on there, and naturally, I mean, it's got so much OLED, yeah, headphone jack, SD card. You've got the notification light on the side. I'm really excited for it. And so yeah, that was one that was really neat. What's another one? I'm trying to think of maybe ones that I haven't covered on the channel that would be highlights as well.
I mean, I feel like at CES there was a lot of things that were kind of similar, and it was like a lot of AI stuff and stuff that
And
felt
robots.
like, yeah, some things just felt like who's gonna use this? Who's gonna need this?
Hmm.
Like not really necessary. But I also saw some funny things like a mask that was like a privacy device, so people don't see what you talk
Oh,
about, and it had like
yeah.
active noise canceling, so you can call somebody and nobody's gonna hear what you're saying and stuff, which I thought like that's actually kind of a good idea for certain people. But so in the middle of all of this AI stuff, unnecessary, you could say slop of
Yes.
AI stuff,
Yes.
there were some funny things actually, interesting stuff.
No, that's a good. I'm glad you brought that up. That's a good point. There were a lot of different AI things, and I mean we're talking AI in everything. Oh, like one thing that I saw that I think I actually might order one. There was a little birdhouse that you could like put bird seed, and it had a camera on it, and so you could like record the birds coming in, which I was like, oh my, because my wife is kind of getting into bird watching. I can't believe I just said that sentence. I never in a million years would have thought that I would say the words that I just said. But she's really enjoying it, and I guess it's a really big hobby even still today.
Yeah.
When I think of bird watchers, I think of like old people on a park bench in New
Yeah.
York. But I don't know if it's, similar in Germany, but anyway, and then the big thing that they talked about is, and you can use our built-in AI features to recognize what species of bird, and it will help you identify other birds that might be in the area, like all kinds. And I was like, dang it, it really is the 21st century when we have AI birdhouses.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's so true.
but to your point, there were a few things that I was like, okay, there are still like there a number of like there was a lot of the mainstream like video game companies and things there, but it was cool to see some of the like the retro gaming options as well. There were quite a few things that were like interesting to me, but also just very much not like AI related, not like how do I want to put this? Like stuff that was fun, stuff that was yeah, maybe I just call it intentional tech, like or offline tech, maybe not, I don't know. But yeah, that was one thing that was really kind of circling back to what we started with is CES. There was so much there. I found that my concern of like not finding anything interesting to cover on the channel or not finding anything personally interesting, to like retro Jake who covers this kind of stuff, totally unfounded. Like there was so much stuff there.
Yeah, yeah, true. I think it was a little bit different for you than for me. I think it was easier for you to find topics to show because I just had like two, like iKKO and Sidephone at the floor, but both of them worked so nicely. Like they had crazy reach. So yeah, I think it's there's something for everyone. Maybe with a little bit of more research, we could have filled empty time slots with content. But yeah, it was your first time too, right? So
Yeah, yeah.
it can only get better next time, or even better.
Even better. There, yep. There
Yeah,
you go. Yeah. Well, let's speaking of CES. So we talked about communicator, obviously power keys. I think we CES was amazing, but man, talk about a blowing up the whatever walls there were that were sort of holding back keyboard phones. Clicks just blew them all down.
yeah,
In my opinion, and granted, there were a couple that had been sort of keeping the fire burning. You've got Unihertz, you've got Minimal who launched their Minimal phone about a year ago or so, but man, clicks with communicator and power keys. It just I don't know. It seems like they've really opened up a whole new chapter of QWERTY,
yeah.
coming back. I'd love to hear your take on that.
Yeah, and we definitely have to talk about the Unihertz Titan 2 Elite later,
Yes,
later on
yes,
maybe. But yeah, I feel like all of those companies that had been producing QWERTY phones in the past, or like for the last 2 or 3 years, they always try to make designs that look like the old stuff that we had and to optimize the old stuff that you had. And I think clicks are the first to look from it from a different angle, creating something totally new that might have that retro feel to it, but it's actually like a completely new and modern phone and device.
yes.
And I feel like that's what that has torn down the walls for some maybe of that QWERTY niche. Because it feels like something you could use if you're not a QWERTY user or have not been a QWERTY user in the past. That's what I feel because it's just
Excellent
so
point.
it's interesting. There's a trend going to more dedicated tech, and I feel like Clicks is just the one that feels like the easiest to do that for some maybe because it's so different and looks so new. I don't know. How do you
Oh,
feel?
I totally agree. And yeah, I think that I hadn't really thought of it that way before, but I think you're totally right. It's something that I wonder if maybe it feels a bit more approachable to people that maybe never did use, keyboard phones in the past for whatever reason. Maybe, they weren't old enough to have a smartphone with a keyboard because they have been more or less gone, certainly gone from the mainstream for years now. But yeah, to your point, Ola, I think that you hit something right, the nail right on the head. Is that I see a lot of people, specifically, we can talk about Titan 2 Elite, right now if you'd like, but I see people, oh, the communicator looks like this, like it doesn't look like a serious device, it doesn't look like a BlackBerry or whatever, and I just think to myself, okay, first of all, guys, do you know who works at Clicks? Like how many ex BlackBerry people? Like it literally has BlackBerry DNA running through it. The lead designer for the device, Joseph Hofer, designed some of the
Awesome
most
guy,
I
by the way.
yes, agreed.
Super
Yep.
interesting guy. Yeah.
Yep,
Okay,
yep.
sorry.
No, 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 no. I absolutely agree. Joseph, if you're watching, it was a pleasure meeting you at CES. Keep up the good work. But so this communicator was designed quite literally by BlackBerry people. Obviously, they don't work there currently, but that were involved with some of the. And so when they say that, it's like you're right. It doesn't look like a BlackBerry from then, but I would argue it looks exactly like, or very much like, what a BlackBerry would look like today.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I also like the old design language that BlackBerry had. I loved it. Like, I love how the passport looks. I love how
Mm,
the classics look. I have some here. It's just, it screams business, and I feel like
Yeah.
I still love that. But we talked about that with Kevin too, and I feel like his approach is totally right. It's just not what would happen in today's world.
Yeah,
So yeah, I
exactly.
feel like it's a logical step forward.
Mhm.
And
And I
especially if you compare that with the QWERTY alternatives that you had from Unihertz, like the Titan 2, Titan 1, or the other ones, the compact, or I forgot the names
the
of
pocket, they had the pocket and the
pocket.
slim. Yeah.
Yeah, they looked horrible. Looked like tool phones and not something stylish. And the other alternatives were like minimal phone that just didn't do enough for most, or doesn't do enough for most. So yeah, that's maybe also why the communicator is getting so much attention.
I totally agree. And minimal phone, I've used it for, quite a while since I first got it. And, not some people would complain like, well, minimal phone, like it's not even really the same. You can't really compare it. I would agree. Because this isn't designed to be a modern BlackBerry, the minimal phone. It's
It's not
designed to be.
mainstream.
Yeah, it's like a minimalist device. Like it's got the
Yeah.
e-paper and so, but yeah, as far as all of the other ones. And with the Titan 2 Elite, I'm really curious to see if that maybe, pulls Unihertz, because I've used Unihertz devices, and it's like just such a wide range of, I don't know, like experiences, maybe you could say. They've made a big deal about talking, this many software updates, we're going to change, it's going to be different now. I'm hopeful that is the case. I would love for that to be the case, because I think that there's a lot of potential there. I don't know. I'm very hopeful for Unihertz, but at the same time, I I don't know. I think it's very much a wait and see.
I think it's exciting, and it's exciting because we're gonna see the Titan 2 Elite first before the Communicator comes out. So because they
Yes.
said like it's coming out in March, which is very very soon. So I'm very excited on how those two compare, or if they are actually comparable, or if they just look a little similar. But yeah, we'll see about that. And I'm excited to try it at MWC, by the way, because they'll be there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get to go and get some hands on.
Yeah, I hope it works out. Going to talk to the CEO, maybe get an interview in. So yeah, I think it's gonna
Whoa.
be interesting stuff, especially with all the questions on the videos of you and me. Like there's a lot going on in this category, especially with this kind of fight and rivalry between the Communicator and the Titan 2 Elite. But
Which
yeah.
I think that's so funny. And it's totally just, the QWERTY fans just, I want to say that it's born out of excitement more than anything else. Because yeah, some of the comments I've seen people make, and even just whole posts, I'm like, guys, come on, let's just calm
Oh,
down.
yeah,
Yep,
yeah.
exactly.
But it's so nice, so much happening, and I feel like people are getting back on it, and uh, like the old times are coming back, and there is actually like how do you say it?
So
Competition.
competition.
Sorry.
There you go. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
there's finally some competition in this space, which I
Yep.
like, and
No,
it's
I
only
I
going to
totally
make the products better.
exactly. Yes. See, that's what, and a lot of the online commentary I have been reassured to see have said exactly that, because it's true. When companies are in an environment where they're not really competing. I mean, honestly, Unihertz with their Titan line was kind of in that situation for years, where they weren't really competing. No one else was making keyboard phones. And so now all of a sudden, you've got clicks coming in a big way that I think is probably going to become the new standard. Everyone else is going to be needing to create really good products. And the other side of that is clicks is going to need to keep making really good products in order to compete. And so I totally agree, Ola. I think it is ultimately across the board good for everyone.
Hey, that brings me up to another topic, which is Sinwa. Yeah,
Oh
the
yeah, yeah, yeah.
thing which started everything, like kind of for me.
Sure,
How
yeah.
do you know how's the updates there? Is he back on
So
track or is it chaotic as it was before?
I know. So I actually charged up my Q25 that I have WeChat on just to keep in touch with him. I did see they shared a picture of the Q27 prototype, like working prototype, fairly recently, which I mean it uses all of the design language from the BlackBerry Classic, but with the screen I think is a little bit taller and larger battery. I was disappointed they got rid of the headphone jack. Rest in peace,
Yeah.
headphone jack on the Zinwa. But I think that they're on track. I did notice that they no longer are selling the fully like the complete unit on the website. That you can
Yeah.
only get the conversion kit, the Q25 conversion kit, and they started pre-selling the passport conversion kits. But
Exciting.
yeah, yeah. I'm anxious about the Q27. I think that it's uh, again more options are better than fewer options is the way I look at it.
Yeah.
But yeah, as far as I know, everything is moving ahead. I haven't heard from him for a little while. I towards the beginning of the project, I would talk to him quite regularly, but as they got busier and busier and busier, I hear from him less and less and less. I'm excited to see the future there as well. I'm really curious to see what the future, like what future devices they will consider for the resto mod, the conversion, as well as just, are they going to make their own passport variant? Are they going to make their own, like what I would like love would be like a BlackBerry 9900 variant, or I don't know.
Yeah. I feel like it's the right decision from them to not sell the complete Q25 unit anymore because it feels like it's just easier for them to send out the transformation kits. And it should have been actually the way to go, maybe, because of all of those quality control issues they had and those old beat up units and stuff.
Yep.
I feel like it's the right decision, and I think it's the better decision to do that with the passport too.
Mhm.
Now, and
Not to
I'm really
mention,
excited for it because I'm at the moment in the process of shooting the full review of this Android passport. So I'm really into the project currently, and I can't wait for Zinwa to release the upgrade kit.
yeah, I saw you. It was fairly recently. You did a short or a reel or something, I think.
Yesterday, yeah.
That was yesterday. Okay, yeah. Oh, the days all blur. But no, real quick before we move on from it, to your point, not to mention the incredible amount of time and resources it must have taken for them to do the conversion themselves and then ship it off. Like, I cannot even imagine how much of a difference it must be in terms of making resources available for them to actually work on these upcoming projects now that they are not going in and actually converting all of the devices.
Right. But yeah, excited for the Q27, of course, but I'm not sure if that's going to take off
Mhm.
as an like very successful product, but who knows?
Yeah, I think that the price will probably make a big difference. I think that I don't know. I want to say like maybe diehard BlackBerry enthusiasts that maybe will gravitate towards that, similar to how they seem to gravitate towards the Titan line by Unihertz, just because there's somewhat of a very similar aesthetic, but at the same time with some of these other things hitting the market, I don't know. I'm not sure what'll happen.
Well, there's something else we should talk about. I
Let's do.
just
What is it? What
just
is it? What is it?
the Key2 update. People
Oh
managed
yes,
to install Android 15 on it or
I
16.
saw
I
that.
think it's
Oh,
16.
is it 16 already? I
I think
haven't. Let's see.
because
Luckily,
I tried to do it, but the Windows computer that I had didn't really recognize my Key2, so I really want to try that next week to install the new Lineage OS on it.
yes. I had almost gotten rid of my Key 2 just because I don't really use it and I've got so many other devices that. But then I saw that and I was like, no, this can't be real. This has got to be phony. But no, sure enough.
There's someone on CrackBerry forums that did a very simplified step-by-step tutorial, and
Mm.
it's really easy. You just have to download a bunch of stuff and then open the apps as he says, and then the phone is going to do its thing, and it's straightforward.
Wow. That's awesome.
Yeah, because that's why I wanted to try it, but I didn't succeed yet. So you could try that. It just takes maybe half an hour
Really?
because you
Okay,
use
yeah. Because
Windows, I think.
I do, yeah,
Yeah,
and I've
I
or
can
something
send you the
from.
link if you want.
Yeah, please do. Yeah,
Yeah.
because like I said, that was something that I had seen talked about, but there's so many. I mean, I'm sure it's similar with you, but like I've got so many things that I'm trying to cover at all at once. So my attention span gets spread pretty thin.
There's something else here that we didn't talk about yet.
Ah, the eco.
We didn't talk about the Eco yet.
That's true. Let's talk about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got mine right here. I did
Oh, it's
put a
charged up actually.
yeah, it's
No, mine's not. I have to plug it in
I
here.
charged it just the other day for something. Oh, the update. Did
Oh
did
no,
you
it
get the
is turned
update?
on. Did they have a new update?
They did. Yeah. Yeah. Shiki messaged me. It was a couple days ago. It's still fairly recently, but two of the highlights they got the tap to pay to work because before like you could have what's it called Google Pay or Android Wallet or whatever on the device, but if you tried to actually turn on tap to pay, it would say that it wasn't a compatible device. The update, I guess, fixed that. I haven't tested that yet, but also some improvements to the camera app, like and that was one where I was like, okay, let's test it out. And I noticed a big difference. Oh, I think that the update, whatever they did, I don't know how software for cameras work, but whatever they did made a big difference. So,
Okay,
um,
cool.
but yeah, my biggest complaint, I guess, would be especially for people who are not like me, who, I'll do my Jake mode where I'll just take everything off except for like my four main apps. People that are wanting to use this as like a normal device with like social media, I think that they're gonna just really not like the battery life. That to
Yeah.
me has been the single biggest like how's the device gonna do? Just because and I'm really curious to hear about your experiences with it, but the battery life on the performance for me has been great. Like I haven't had
Yeah.
any issues with the speed or like running apps. I think that the screen is great, especially for like a unique form factor device. But battery life, I don't know. But what has
Yeah.
your experience with the Mind One been like?
Same, same. I tried to use it more than I did after the video, after I published the video to get a better feel for it, but there was just so much going on with so many different phones. I wanted to try the Zinwa too, so I didn't really get into it that much in the past weeks. But yeah, I had the same feeling about the battery life. I really didn't like that. And did the update fix the speaker problem? Do you know that?
Good
Because the
question. I
speaker
don't
was
know.
horrible.
Let's see if it's turned on because that's the other thing too is on their website they advertise it as stereo speakers. But when I was testing it, I was
It's
like,
just
no, there's just the bottom. And so
yeah,
that's another thing that I messaged Shiki about, and she said that was something that they are still working on the audio drivers and then enabling that earpiece speaker for stereo output. But here, let me I'll throw on a little song here real quick and see if they
no. Oh, okay.
no, I think it's still, yeah, I think speaker's same.
Yeah,
I don't think they've fixed it yet.
yeah. Okay.
And then also naturally with power keys, I think that it could be a really, really good power keys host where you've got, the built-in battery of the power keys, so that could help with with
True.
this thing. But do you have any predictions on if and when we will start to see more mainstream companies take a look at the QWERTY space and maybe think about, hey, there's something going on there. Maybe we could dedicate a little bit of manufacturing, or do you think that it is so niche that they're just going to be like, we'll let those little guys keep doing their thing, the
Like
clicks, the
yeah.
Unihertz, the minimal, Sidephone. This is something I've kind of on the one hand I'm like they're never going to go back, but on the other hand I'm like, well, you never know.
Well, I feel like the communicator could be the product that maybe steers them into that direction because I heard about big companies and big things being interested in the communicator when I was talking to Kevin. So there is attention on the device, and people are actually looking forward to the device. And I feel like with all of this attention, and if it's actually a good product, like when it's released, I feel like that could maybe change things. If people like it, why not? I
Yeah.
mean, Samsung does a lot of stuff like that. I mean, Motorola does crazy phones. So could happen, maybe. Who knows?
Yeah, I'm definitely not getting my hopes up, so to speak, but I totally agree. I think that if, one of these ones where it's like a Samsung or, a Motorola, Lenovo, they're not afraid to try a unique device.
It's a it'll be like 2 years from now until we would
Oh
see
yeah.
something like that. So it's far out. But I
Yep.
mean, Apple is doing their foldable phone, which is kind of interesting with the
So
new
that's
iPhone.
confirmed. I've heard rumors about that for like years now, but I haven't really paid much attention to it because it always just seemed like they were just rumors.
I feel like, no, I think it's like they're pretty certain that it's actually coming.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm excited about that. So yeah, it's phones are getting interesting again. That's how I would
Yes,
say.
yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Let me see if there's anything, maybe winding things down a little bit. I'm sure you've got some stuff you need to do, and I think I can hear my family waking up.
I'll shoot a
Oh,
video
Ole.
now.
Yes, there you go. Okay, so for you, I know I've mentioned this to you, but like also for the listeners, August 15th, Salt Lake City, Utah. We are hosting myself and some other creators and a couple of companies what I'm calling InTech, so intentional and retro tech gathering. We're going to basically have a meetup on the one hand, or all the way up to maybe like a mini convention if people can come. Companies, you can come and get your hands on some of the devices that we're talking about. I know that I'll bring some of mine, others will bring theirs, but I think it's going to be a pretty good time. I think that it's something that the intentional technology market segment or space is just about getting large enough that I don't know and a meetup like this could be really cool and really beneficial for everyone, for content creators, for the companies themselves, and naturally, just end users that maybe are curious about some of these types of tools that they could maybe use. So yes, so the invite is there, Ola, if you'd like to come. I understand there's that ocean and then most of the country, of the US in the way.
It's
But
like
yeah, would
18
would would
hours
love to.
of travel. Yeah, but I'd love to. Yeah, I'm looking into that.
Yeah.
I'll try to make it happen, but it's a lot of traveling around, and the channel isn't as profitable as it should be for those things and flights.
Right.
But yeah, I'd love to do it though, like out of my own pocket. So
Yeah, and naturally, if you're gonna make the trip, we can go see some sites as well if you'd be interested. We could do some fun stuff too
yeah,
to
yeah,
uh to make it
nice.
more worth it. But yeah, for all the listeners, if you have if obviously if you're in Utah, or if have the ability to travel over August 15th, it's a Saturday. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. People have started expressing interest. We've got some creators and some companies already committing to come. So, but yeah, Ola, is there anything we missed? Anything we didn't cover so
I think we
far?
talked about a lot this time.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, we did. And then, oh, when is so for I feel a lot of, if not all of the people over at Returning Retro are familiar with yourself, but tell people where they can follow you and maybe what's coming for your channel. You mentioned Mobile World Congress, but where can people find you and what can they expect from Ole in the near future?
Yeah, people can find me on my YouTube channel, which is Jan Ole Helmbold. I hope you can spell that out. But if you type in BlackBerry into your search bar on YouTube, you'll probably find me. and also on my Instagram channel that I really put out many reels at the moment and a lot of content, and there's a lot going on there, so you should definitely follow me there. Also open up a TikTok, I think like 2 weeks ago, but I'm just
Okay.
posting a little there. Uh, and there's a lot of content coming up. I'm in the middle of my production for the Passport Android video. I'm going to MWC in Barcelona and try to share a lot of content there, especially with Unihertz, the Titan 2 Elite. I'm meeting up with the team of Clicks again in Barcelona, so maybe there'll be new content there and new info about the Communicator. So and there's so much happening, so I think there's so much content, and I'll cover everything and every single news I'll get about QWERTY phones. So yeah, if you're interested in that, follow me there.
Love it.
Yeah.
Awesome. Cool. Well,
All
yeah.
right.
I think here's to another good convention for you at Mobile World Congress. But yeah, we'll chat again soon. Thanks for
Thank you
joining
so
me.
much.
Okay, we'll talk again.